What's up, you guys? I'm Chibi Joe, and I'm here with another movie review. And I have a lot of these to record. I've been slacking. I've been busy with other things, so I'm going to try to get as many done as possible and just upload it throughout this week. So the first one we're going to talk is one I just watched last night, and it was The Curse of La Llorona. And before I begin, I'm sure I'll have it in the description and the titles. I will say many spoilers. So, I enjoyed this movie. I wasn't exactly afraid of this movie. I think I jumped maybe once or twice. But it was just a fun ride. It was a fun movie. It's part of the Conjuring universe. So, that's always cool. And, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It starts out with, back in, the 1600s, the mid-1600s. And this lady is playing with her boys, and she runs off with one of the boys. I think they're playing a form of hide and seek or something. And so the other boy, who I guess would be it, is looking for his mom and brother. And when he finds her, she's freaking drowning the firstborn, or the other boy. He freaks the hell out and runs away, and then just the mom grabs him, and that's the scene. The boy just screaming. And so then it goes into modern day. Mom trying to get her kids ready for school. They miss the school bus. She's late for work. And there's this replacement person for her. So then they can work on more. She has more time and she gets to work on time. And there's this one line where she's got support talking about the other chick. And then the main woman, the mom, she's yeah, well, her husband's not dead. And I'm damn. She's not a happy person right now, which I guess I wouldn't be either if in that situation where my boss is thinking I'm incompetent or losing my mind sort of thing, where I have to have someone take my cases, because she's some kind of social worker, caseworker with DCFS or something like that. And so one of her cases that she's had for quite a while, she is hearing there's issues, the boys aren't going to school and stuff like that. And so she goes over to the lady's house with a cop escort against her will, which is understandable. So she goes in the house, they go to the house. Eventually, this lady answers, the lady in the case answers, and she's has kind of wild-eyed and all this stuff, and the caseworker's hey, are you okay? Where are the boys? And she's somewhere safe, and she goes to close the door, and she's I just want to make sure they're safe. And so she lets her in. She's only you. And so she's wandering around this house, and this house has candles lit all over it, whole 9 yards. Really cool looking scenery. She goes into this one room, which I'm assuming was the boys' bedroom, or some kind of bedroom, and there's this door with all these markings and stuff on it. And the lady, the case mom, not the case worker, not the main mom, but the other person, Alvarez, I think her last name was. She's don't open that door. Don't open the door. And she basically tackles the caseworker, and she goes to she pulls out a knife. You hear the cop in the background running at her, and pulls her off of the social worker. After pulling out a knife, drags her away. They unlock the door. The two boys are huddled in the closet, and they're can you please close the door again? And like the scene changes again to the boys saying, like looking at all the marks on their arms and stuff. They're like, she did this. Well, the social worker keeps thinking it's Alvarez. It's their mom. And like the oldest boy is just like, it's not our mom. It's not her. She's not doing this. And so that scene ends. And so like it goes back to like her sleeping. I think there was a couple of other scenes in between, just like family scenes and stuff like that. Like the little sister, the social worker's daughter, like watches a lot of TV. Her son wants to be a cop like his dead father. And it's a really kind of like bittersweet scene, very nice. But like it goes to like her like sleeping, and she gets a phone call telling her that I missed a huge scene. So the Alvarez boys are like in this. It's not a prison cell, but I think it was like in the prison or like somewhere. Like they have like a police guard right there, and it was like a Catholic homes thing. I don't know. It looked very prison-like, very prison/hospital-like. Anyways, so the older brother, the younger brother, wakes up and looks at his older brother, and, he's still fast asleep. So he's just like, okay, gonna go back to sleep. It was just a dream. He wakes back up, and the older brother's just, standing out the doorway, just not even, paying attention. Little brother's like, hey, why are you not listening to me? And so, the older boy just keeps walking down. It's, really intense. The lights are flickering. How the guard that checked on them earlier, how the guard didn't see or hear any of this, I don't know. I don't know if he was killed or something like that, or if he just did not give two shits. So anyways, they're going down this hallway, and every time the younger brother would end up in one corner of the hallway, his brother was in the complete opposite corner. It was very intense, and then it stops. The older brother's just standing there looking at the little brother, and he just holds out his hand and points at the security mirror, and he turns around and you see La Llorna just standing there, and then the younger brother screams, and then it goes to the social worker mom sleeping, and the phone rings telling her the Alvarez boys were found in the river. And I'm sorry if you hear that. That guy's been doing that all day today, by the way. It is 3 o'clock, and he has been doing that since 9, 10 o'clock. Not even joking. So, anyways, they go to the crime scene. For whatever reason, she brought her kids along. I don't know why. I don't know why she brought her kids to the crime scene. My assumption at first was it was for school reasons, that she was just going to drop them off of school because she didn't know how long it was going to be. But when I looked, on the movie, I thought he was wearing a polo, a blue polo. But then you see him later on wearing the pajamas, and he was just wearing a pajamas with a jacket. So, I'm like, oh, okay, so that has nothing to do with anything. Why did you bring your kids there? Even because I saw it with Nick, and Nick's like, why did she bring her kids there? And I'm like, at first I thought it was because of, school. And then I'm like, no, that's his normal pajamas. Why did you bring your kids here? This is so confusing. So, like, the kids are there. Mom told the older brother who's awake, hey, don't wake up your sister. Stay in the car. Whole 9 yards. She goes out there and she's like getting really emotional because like she's worked with these boys. Like she knows these boys. And now they're dead. And so the mom, Alvarez, she's there and she's, yelling my kids in Spanish. And she's like, this is your fault. You killed them. And the mom's like, who got them? She's like, La Llorona. Which, I mean, we all saw in the trailers. And it's such a good, it was a really nice scene. Very nice introduction to the quote unquote monster of the movie. It's very well done. So then the boy, being, he's wanting to be a cop and stuff. So naturally, like any good boy would do, he sneaks out of the car and tries to spy on the crime scene. Whatever, I'll roll with it. There's dumber horror movie people. So, he's spying on them, and he hears a woman crying. And so he looks, and it's, it's the lady. It's the La Llorona. And so she chases him back to the car. And this was intense. Like, this was all, like, I think we saw this in the trailers, too. Like, she would try to roll down a window, and he would, like, use all of his strength to roll it back up. And then she just unlocks. Like, all the doors unlock. And, like, also, you learn, like, the burns on the hands happens, like, she grabs the sun, and, like, you can hear it sizzling and all that stuff, and now he has all these marks on him. Which the marks kind of change over time. I don't know why that is, if it's meant to be inconsistent, but it was. Like the places where, because, like, in this scene, you could see where her fingers were. Exactly. And, as the movie goes on, like, it loses that look, and it was really good. But I don't know why that changed. But this scene was super intense. Like, all the doors unlock, and it's the mom. It's the normal mom, and it was a very nice, like, false scare. And so, they go home. They're all acting weird. Like, the kids are all acting weird. And mom's like, "What's wrong?" And they're like, and the son's like, "Nah, I was just imagining things." She's like, "Okay." So then, time goes on, and trying to get my thoughts together. So, like, they're still talking about the Alvarez thing going on, and they're like, we don't know how she did it, but, we have her hold up in this. So, like, the little girl, the daughter, she's playing outside, and she has, like, an umbrella out and all that stuff, and she hears a woman crying, so she goes to the fence, and she looks around. You don't see her, and then she, like, brings the umbrella down, or she pops the umbrella open, and you see La Llorona, like, just standing there. And I mean, even, like, when I saw it, I'm like, oh shit, like it was like an oh shit moment. And, like, she, like, brings the umbrella back up, and, like, it was a really good effect where, like, she, like, every inch she raises the umbrella, like, La Llorona disappears. Like, you can only see her the first time through something. Sometimes. I don't know what to think of it, but it was really cool either way. Doesn't matter. It was cool. So like they kept going, and she like dropped her, or like a huge gust of wind happened, and like the umbrella flew from the little girl's hands, and so she like goes to grab it, and another gust of wind happens, goes to grab it again, another gust of wind, and they have like this big like in-ground pool, and the umbrella ends up in that. Well, she grabs the umbrella, and then like you're expecting her to be pulled under, and she wasn't. She just kind of went in. Or no. The La Llorona grabbed her by the arm, and she got away. And her mom asked what happened to her arm, and the daughter just says, "I fell." And she's like, "Well, that's one heck of a fall." And so like she's like looking at the pool like really nervous and all that stuff, like not pleased at all. And the son walks in and says, "Hey, Coop's here," which I guess he's like a friend of their late father. And he brought pizza for everyone. And the mom and him are having like a glass of wine, and the kids are not eating. Like they're freaking out because, you know, scary monster. So like they go off and watch TV, and they're talking, and he brings the case, all the case files of the Alvarez boys, which really doesn't play a big part except for like one scene where she's preoccupied in reading it. And like so she's reading it that evening, and she hears a noise. So she like, it's the stereotypical like pan shots of her walking around the house, including one. There's always this one shot in a horror movie or an action movie I really like, and I first saw it when I watched Doom. And it's whenever it starts off like a first person point of view, and then they walk, the person you think you're looking at the point of view of walks like alongside the camera. I don't know why, but I always loved that camera view. That camera shot. It just looks really good to me. And so like that's all going on. And then she like is in her house, like the window's opening by itself. I'm trying to like formulate my thoughts, because there's two events where this happens, and I don't fully remember which is which. Because in one of the scenes, the boy is sleepwalking, and he's trying to open up the door, similar to how the older brother was with the Alvarez boys. And he's trying to open the door, and he can't. And all of a sudden, the door like busts open, freaking them all out. And then the boy passes out, and then wakes up again. And he's like, "What happened?" And she's like, "You were sleepwalking. It's all good. Everything's fine. You were sleepwalking." I think that's like the fourth time he's ran through just in this recording. Anyways, so they keep going on, and then the other scene, like she's like walking around, and like she picks up a baseball bat, like she's in her room, and she sees La Llorona. Like La Llorona is in the daughter's room, and like when it's closing, like the mirror on the door like shows La Llorona's face, and she tries like to get to the door, and like that door shuts and she can't open it. And then La Llorona's in that room, and she's like freaking out, like, "Who are you? What are you doing in my house? Get out of my house." And the kids wake up, and the mom's like, "How about you guys sleep in my bed?" I skipped quite a bit. There was also like this scene with like the priest, and like that's how you get to learn about La Llorona. She was a beautiful woman, and I'm really sorry. Like, I don't do this like scripted at all. I don't really formulate my thoughts. I just kind of let my opinions roll as they go on. So this priest tells her about La Llorona. She was like a beautiful woman, married a farmer. She came home one time and the farmer was with another woman, and so she decided to take what's most precious to him, which was their kids. She then like regretted it and drowned herself. And so now she's like looking for boys, looking for children to be hers. And yeah, so that's her like whole motivation for attacking these kids, is that she wants kids of her own again. It's really weird. It's a really weird motivation, but I liked it. So, and then there's like this guy like throwing like a kind of incense over them, dispelling all evil, negative like energy and all that stuff. So, but that's like way earlier in the movie. So, things are all going on, and like everything else, like that happens. And so, she's at work one day, and the kids are at home. And because I guess these kids just never go to school. They went to school like once in the entire movie, and you never see them. Like you know they went to school, but you never see them in school. They're just home, and so like the boy thinks that he hears his sister crying, and so he goes into his sister's room, and it's La Llorona. And like he like falls down the stairs, and like he sprains his wrist, and he freaking like they go to the hospital, and the doctor sees the burns on his other hand or his other arm, and like immediately thinks that she's abusing him. The mom's abusing her son, and so like the caseworkers come, and then that's when like you hear more about La Llorona. A little bit before this, she goes and sees La Llorona, or not La Llorona, Alvarez mom, and like she's like, I don't pray to God anymore. I pray to La Llorona. I pray her to bring my boys back and to take your kids from you. In other words, like I want you to feel what I feel. And so like it was such a psychotic scene, and I'm just like, she's lost it. Like she's lost her mind. Like she doesn't believe in God anymore. She just believes in La Llorona because that's real, and it's just so messed up. And so like so the cop Coop and another caseworker comes in and basically interviews the kids, and the dumbest moment I think I've ever seen in a movie, well, not dumbest moment, but like a dumb moment, was Coop was like, Alvarez was released. We didn't have any proof on her. So I guess like attempted murder isn't a charge. I mean, she drew a knife to stab, like, in full intent to stab the caseworker. Like, she was going to kill the caseworker if the cop wasn't there. So, I don't know why you guys released a mentally, like, disturbed woman with violent tendencies, and who was spouting insane statements. So, I don't know about that. Anyways, so Coop was like, whatever this is, you need to fix it. And not like he was like panicking, or like it was like basically, unless you want to lose your kids, you got to do something, or else you're going to lose these kids. Like he wasn't like worried about her per se, or like he didn't know anything about La Llorona, nothing like that. He was just like, listen, whether or not you're doing this, you need to stop. And so they get the help. They try to get the help with the church, and the priest is like, yeah, that may take several weeks to get there, to get approved. Well, she didn't have several weeks. And so he's like, well, there is another guy. He used to be a priest, but now he's like a shaman who has separated himself from the church. Like he still believes in God, but he separates himself from the church. Like he combines science with religion. And so they go to him. He tries to refuse. Little girl's like, will you please help? And he's like, yeah, okay. And so he's like trying to explain everything to them. So he tell them how La Llorona basically works. And he sorry. He keeps going on and on about this and that, like what they need to do. And so it starts with like he's rolling eggs on the doorways, and so are they, and they're like, why are we doing this? Are we just gonna rub eggs all over the house? And he, like, Raphael, I think was his name, and he's like, you think this is crazy, don't you? And little boy had the greatest line in the movie. He's like, yeah, pretty much. Like, it was just how he said it, just like, yeah, I do. This is weird. This is not normal. And I just loved that. That was great. I laughed out loud when I actually watched in the movie. I thought that was great. And so, turns out this is like some ceremony or like a test thing where like he'll break open the egg, and depending on how much blood is in the egg, depicts how much evil is in there. And so he cracks open the egg. Oh! I'm being stupid. Oh. I keep, see, like, my mind, like, I have time to sleep, and I'm also, like, full of pork steak. So, like, my mind is working at, like, half power. So, okay, early in the movie, before they meet Raphael, little girl's taking a bath, and her and her mom have this thing where, like, she, like, rubs her hair and then, like, dunks her over, like, and the little girl will say rinsing, and she'll push her head under. Well, she was doing this by herself, and La Llorona was there doing it instead. And whenever the kid was, like, rinsing, the La Llorona put her head under the water and, like, kept her under there and almost killed her. And the mom saves her, and, like, La Llorona, like, grabs her arm and, like, holds it there for quite a while. And that's when they get the help of Raphael and all that stuff. And it's caused by, like, the tears of La Llorona, like the mark on the arm, like the burning is like her tears of, like, hatred and regret and all that stuff. So, like, he cracks open the egg, going back, he cracks open the egg, and, like, there's just a bunch of blood, and, like, I hated the scene with the mom, because the mom's like, oh, I saw that on Carson, that's just a trick. I hated that scene, because it's like, you saw La Llorona, like, you know she exists, so why are you pretending like she doesn't? Or trying to, like, logicalize that. And then, like, the other 3 eggs started, like, spinning around, and they exploded, like, bloody yolk goes everywhere, and Raphael goes, ta-da! And, like, the daughter's like, did you see that on Carson? And the mom's like, no. And so then, like, they all go, like, gung-ho, trying to, like, charm the area. Ends up kind of working. He, surrounds the family with, like, candles. And, he's like, a steady flame means our charms are working. Well, then you hear, like, La Llorona walking around, and you see, like, water, like, you hear the sound of water dripping, and you hear, like, her loud, like, scream / roar, and it was so intense. All the candles go out, like, all at once, the mom basically gets like freaking German suplex into a wall, and like you don't see La Llorona doing it, but the mom just goes like flying head first into like a picture, and so the kids like immediately hide under the table. Raphael like goes into the darkness, like some kind of like assassin, and so La Llorona like grabs the boy. You have this intense scene like them being under the table, and like the tablecloth starts going up, and then like he's like look like the kids go from under the table, and they just see this figure like rising with the tablecloth, and you just hear mijito, and like she like grabs the son and starts dragging him off, and all of a sudden Raphael like grabs the boy right before he goes out the window or goes out the door, and like he sanctified like the tears, like he gathered tears earlier in the movie, and he like sanctified it, he like prayed over it, made it like holy, and like hit her with it, and so she's burned, and he put like the ashes of the fire tree, basically the tree that witnessed these grisly murders, he like got the seeds for the fire tree, and like he made a cross from out of the fire tree, and or as he kept on calling it, El Arbor del Fuego. And like he put all the seeds in front of the door, so now she like can't get in, and the girl, so like she can't get in now, like the La Llorona cannot get into the house, so La Llorona goes from the back door, and like they're holding the door shut and all that stuff, and so the little girl sees her doll outside on like the porch, and she like tries reaching for it, and she's like, look mom, I like, cause like the mom like freaked out when she saw it, because you know this is the only thing keeping that demon from the house, and the girl's like, look mommy, I got the doll and I didn't spill any of the seeds. Well, then she spilled like all, like she messed up the whole line, so now like La Llorona like grabs her and like flings her out. It was like it was kind of like a humorous looking scene, but I was like, oh jeez, like kid flew out there like going like 60 miles per hour, like that kid's dead. And so the son's like, she's gonna drown her, because like he's been inside La Llorona's head or something, or La Llorona's been in his head, and so he's like, she's gonna drown her. And so they go to the pool. The mom like dives in the pool with like a flashlight, and is looking for the daughter, and like her and La Llorona are like having like a, you know, just back and forth, and Raphael like puts like some like salt in it and like blesses the water to make it holy water, so La Llorona had to leave. So now like they're back in the house, and you kind of notice like something's a little different about the girl, like the girl's not responding to anything, and so like they're in the room, and like the girl tries to get up and go out the door, and like Raphael just closes the door in front of her, and he's like, she's been entranced with or against the La Llorona, and so like he's like, whenever La Llorona calls, she'll answer. Which, why didn't they do that with both kids? I don't know, but whatever. And she only did it like this once. It doesn't come again in this entire movie. So like they're closing the closet until sunrise. Well, it doesn't matter, because La Llorona grabs the kids anyways and tries to get them out. Or no. The Alvarez woman comes in and is like, has both kids, and she's like insane, and she's like, La Llorona promised me my boys back if I bring her yours. And she's like praying, and Raphael goes to like stop her, and she like shoots him with a gun. So that's two attempts of attempt. That's two times she's attempted to kill someone. Because that's not a charge anymore. It's the purge. As long as you only attempt, it's not a crime. And so like she prays to La Llorona and like destroys the line completely. And so La Llorona comes in and like knocks everyone the frick out, drags the mom, like the caseworker mom, drags her into like the basement, like the door that leads to the basement, just throws her in there and like closes the door. The kids go into the attic, and the boy has the necklace that the mom got from the fight between La Llorona and her. And so, like, the boy shows La Llorona the necklace, and she turns back to her old self for, like, a little bit until she looks at the mirror and, like, sees what her face really looks like, and she starts, like, going insane again. Kind of reminded me of, in Halloween 4, whenever the niece calls Michael Myers uncle, and, like, Michael Myers, like, takes off the mask. You don't really see his face. And then she goes to, like, touch him, and he goes, like, insane again. Like, it was, like, a moment of relapse. Like, oh, man, I can see clearly right now. And then, like, he just loses it again. Like, he goes back to who he was. It kind of reminded me of that sort of storytelling. And it was really good. Like, it wasn't bad. Like, I actually, like I said, I enjoyed the movie. And so, the mom comes in, and Raphael's like doing the prayer, like, you're not welcome here, get out. And he's like doing the prayer and all that stuff. Well, she just like pushes him out of the freaking way, which I feel bad for Raphael. He just got shot and then like broke his spine against the rafters. And so he like kicks the cross over to the woman, to the caseworker, and she like stabs La Llorona in the heart with the cross, and La Llorona like explodes and all that stuff. And then like Raphael is like leaving with just like a bloody towel. Like, so I guess like he had some way to heal a gunshot wound. Which good for him. I mean, you know, if you have a way to instantly heal a gunshot wound, that's not too bad. And so he leaves. They go back into the house. But the mom like looks like really strictly at this puddle on the ground, which it's been raining this entire movie. So I really like, if it was me, I would not have thought about anything about this puddle. It's like, yeah, it was raining like all weekend. Overall, it was a fun movie. Still don't know why the Alvarez woman wasn't permanently arrested for attempted murder and like endangering her kids. Like, I don't care if there's a La Llorona or not, locking your kids in a closet is usually not seen as a good thing. So yeah, I recommend seeing it. I missed a lot, so take that for what it is. I got my brain mixed up on like what happened when, because a lot of similar things happen in this movie, and it's really hard to remember what order they happened in. But that's all I got today, so please, if you like this video, comment, like, and subscribe. And guys, I'll see you next time. Have an awesome day and a good night.